the slot wide receiver competition and position is one that I have been paying the closest attention to. Obviously, a longtime Bengal, one of the steadiest Bengal wide receivers in recent history, Tyler Boyd, no longer with the team. He follows Brian Callahan to Tennessee. And honestly, I'm kind of shocked that the Bengals didn't even pursue him. He kind of sat there for a long time, signed a really small contract with the Titans, but ultimately no longer with the team. And this opens up a lot of opportunity in the Bengals offense. Last season, the Bengals ran 11 personnel or 3 wide receiver sets on 74% of their plays last season, which was the fourth highest rate in the league. So there's a lot of snaps up in the air for a potential third wide receiver to be out there. And there's been some discussion of running a little bit more 12 personnel, getting Gesicki and Drew Sample on the field. But I still think that this is going to be a team that heavily features 3 wide receivers, running 11 personnel pretty consistently. And Dan Pitcher has said he's open to either running a rotation or having one person kind of take on this third wide receiver role. And through training camp, there's been a lot of names thrown out there. So Andrei Iosivas, Yoshi, he took all of the slot snaps in day one of training camp, even though we never really saw him in this role last year. But he said he was kind of given a heads up that he was going to be kind of playing this role, or at least being tried out in this role. And from what I've heard, the videos that I've seen and the reports is he looked good coming out of the slot in these first few days of training camp. Then you've obviously got Jermaine Burton, the Bengals third-round draft pick. He played some slot in college, 26% across his collegiate career. He peaked at 39% of his slot or routes out of the slot in 2022. And then there's been some talk of Jamar Chase possibly bumping into the slot a little bit more. His slot participation has steadily risen over the last over his 3 NFL seasons, peaking at 26% last season. So there's a lot of names that could potentially be taking over this role for Tyler Boyd. And I really think that it's going to ultimately be a rotation. But I'm pretty excited about what Andrei Iosivas can do in this role if he's the one who ends up either being the primary or the go-to guy as the third wide receiver. I mean, we saw him flash some ability in the red zone. He's very much so an athletic prowess on the field. So I'm excited to see what he can offer in year 2. And we kind of thought Charlie Jones was going to be that guy to be the follow-up, the heir apparent to Tyler Boyd when he ultimately left, because I mean the Bengals have been preparing for this for a couple of years now, but it seems like he's kind of been jumped, and they want to see what Iosivas can provide in this third wide receiver slot role. So I'm really excited to see kind of what sort of mix. I didn't even mention Mike Gesicki. He's a glorified slot receiver with a tight end mark next to his name. So there's a lot of options for what the Bengals can do. I think it opens up a lot more for what they can do offensively. We kind of seen the reports coming out of training camp that they're expanding the playbook, kind of trying to disguise their looks based on their personnel. And now that they have what I would say one of the deeper wide receiver rooms in the NFL, combined with a guy in Mike Gesicki who can kind of do it all as a tight end, be a pass catcher, I'm really excited to see how the offense develops and progresses in 2024.
I agree with you, man. I think you made excellent points here. You know, it's funny. I was told today that apparently Charlie Jones and Trent Irwin are battling it out for the returner spot. So I know a lot of people thought Chris Evans was going to be thrown in there, but as of right now, the early stages of training camp, it's only been a 2-man battle between Trent Irwin and Charlie Jones. So very, very curious to see what happens there, who wins that spot. But Charlie Jones is a guy that I'm still excited about. I think that Chuck Sizzle showed a lot of potential last year, and he's a guy that I still think can find his way on the football field. I think that it's going to be up to some of these younger crowd wide receivers, and it's weird calling Charlie Jones young, right? He's one of the older wide receivers, if you will, in the Bengals locker room. But I really think it's going to be up to Charlie Jones, Andrei Iosivas, Jermaine Burton to try to steal snaps away from a guy like Trent Irwin. Honestly, if I'm Charlie Jones, I'm going to try to stress the Bengals coaching staff and put them in a situation where they have to make a decision. Who are you going to make active on game days? Who is going to be your guy that you rely on in that spot? So needless to say, this is a deep Bengals offense, just offense as a whole this year, but the receiving core is really, really special. This is the best receiving core that Joe Burrow has had. If